Hey guys, it's me again, your King, and we're back with another very interesting video. And that is basically we're reviewing a mod, but we're tier listing a mod. Basically, a bunch of gender bent Street Fighter characters, right? And for context as to why I love this mod so much, I found my love for writing from basically reading and writing fan fictions, right? And my favorite fanfics to both write and read were like very well done gender bent fanfics. I don't mean, oh, we're just going to change the pronouns on this one character and that's the entire fanfic. No, I mean like actual like done right fan fictions. Like stuff where like it actually asks the question, what if this person were a boy or what if this person were a girl? So when I found out that there was a Street Fighter V mod that essentially did that exact same concept, but without like the story or any of the voice lines or anything like that, but basically gender bent all the male characters into being a bunch of female characters, I just knew that I had to like jump on and like review each and every single one of these mods. And this is honestly one of my favorite like mod sets of the entirety of like Street Fighter V. I love it a lot, and yeah, if you're watching this, hopefully you love it too. If you don't, I recommend you download this mod if you have Street Fighter V on your PC. It's like incredibly simple. And a vast majority of them are pack mods. Me and Harold will try to like when we can say whenever like a certain mods don't work because they're not packs but instead folders, but like they should be able to work if you're doing it the easy way. But first, before we get on with like the actual tier list and like seeing which one works well and which ones don't, I would like to give off some honorable mentions to all the women fighters of Street Fighter who sadly aren't gender bent. If the mod author happens to be watching this, please, I really want you to make a mod based off like this, based off like, oh crap, Sagat's in here. I think I put Sagat like right here, if I remember correctly, somewhere right there. Basically, mod author, if you're out there watching this, please, can you please make a mod that does the same thing for all the women fighters? I especially love to see what Chun-Li and Cammy would be like, gender bent as like men, But yeah, if you're out there, you're a person to make this mod, please, can you like do that before all the women fighters? With that out of the way, let's go based on the best and what works, I guess. So of course, first is the best is Dan. Now, Dan is like one of my favorite Street Fighter characters because he's a bit of a joke character. However, what makes his joke work is the explanation behind it, which essentially boils down to the fact that he was basically a parody of an SNK character, or should I say two SNK characters. He was a parody of Rio and Robert Garcia from The Art of Fighting, because for those guys who don't know the story behind it, SNK is this company that branched off from Capcom and went on to make their own rip-off fighting game, well, quote-unquote rip-off fighting game called The Art of Fighting, which was a rip-off of Street Fighter 2. The people who created Street Fighter saw that and was like, hey, those are our characters, and so they made Dan as a joke, basically, and based him off of two men characters, like I said, Rio and Robert Garcia. Now, what I love about Dan and Midnight Bliss and like his whole gender bent thing is the fact that they quite literally asked the question, what if Dan was actually gender bent? And instead of making him like based off of like an actual like gender bent of his own character, they based him off of like the woman fighter that was in Art of Fighting. I think her name was like Yuri Yakazaki. Harold will correct me. Yuri Yakazaki. But essentially, like, let me look it up real quick. Harold edit this part out. So yeah, this is basically what base Dan looks like. And Harold, can you put up like a reference photo for both Rio and Robert Garcia, please? Basically, this is who I'm comparing it to. This where basically they took the base of Rio that you can see right here with like the gi and the shirt underneath, and they actually switched it with Yuri from Art of Fighting. And I love that so much. Like, I love how they did that with Yuri from Art of Fighting. Yeah, I couldn't get a clear picture or a clear pause, but basically, like, you see the entire, like, dream, right? You get what I'm saying. I love this because it quite literally asks, what if Dan was gender bent? That's what I love most about this. And that's why I think Dan's Midnight Bliss is the best of all of them. That being said, everyone else works really well, especially Dawson. I love Dawson because it's one of the many, hey, let's just basically make Dawson a woman, but this is one of the many that actually works, I love it a lot, man. I love Dawson and the way they, like, gender bent him and made him, like, different. Hopefully Harold's putting up a reference picture to show you what I mean, but yeah, I could quite literally see this. Like, everything that's in works well, I could literally see this as being, like, the gender bent versions of them had Capcom decided to go another route. Next is Alex, and like I said for Dawson, it just works really well. There's one gripe I have with Alex, and it's the fact that she, like, her model isn't like as muscular as like the actual Alex. So if I could put up like a comparison, but essentially like regular Alex is like super muscle. You could like tell he's like a guy who like grabs people and throws them around the arena, and and girl Alex is basically like less muscular, like that's the one gripe I have. I wish that they had just made it more muscular. I understand that like by changing the models, you have to like sort of fit them in like the right hitbox, and to make the girl Alex much more muscular would like sort of like ruin that. But yeah, like that being said, I love it anyway. Next is Vega. And I almost put Vega up there with Dan as being one of the best. However, I decided to put him in works very well after I realized that these are like going to be like the gender bends I could see Capcom actually working on and doing well with, right? Vega is like one of my favorites. Like, I love what they did with Vega so much, you know. And like the way Vega just like looks, I could quite literally see this like both like I quite literally see this being like the base roster of like a Street Fighter game. Like the only thing that like you could replace this version of Vega with like the base version of Vega, and I could not tell the difference. I would not be able to tell the difference at all. Next is Balrog, and Balrog is sort of on the same boat as Alex here, where like I love Balrog's like the way they gender bent him. Like everything is like almost perfect. The thing I would change most about it is one, make the arms like feel more longer, because like I don't know, there's like something undeniable about the fact that because like I've played like I main Balrog in what's called Street Fighter 5, right? And like I could tell like I used this mod on him, and I could tell like the arms, there's something about the length of the arms that's not right. So if you make their arms a bit longer, that would have been dope. However, to make Balrog a bit more muscular once again, that would have been dope too. If there's some way to like work around like the whole hitbox limitation or something like that, to just make this version of Balrog a bit more muscular, that would have been dope. But besides that, she's almost perfect. Next is Cody, and Cody is like one of my favorite Street Fighter characters like of all time. That's like I loved what they did with the story, like where he originally was like one of the main defenders, and then he took over for Hagar and became its mayor. I love that so much. So this is basically me being biased. Like if I were unbiased, I would put him works well. However, Cody is indeed my favorite Street Fighter character, like one of my favorites of all time. So I put it up here. That being said, he does indeed work. I could sort of see it being like the main thing had they switched it out. Like this is like one of the ones that works very well, really well. I love it a lot. Now for the works well tier, and first is Blanca, and like I like this a lot because it's what Capcom did, right? Harold, if you could put up the picture, please. There's like this variant cover of basically that was a parody of like the original She-Hulk comic cover, right? That was made officially by Capcom, or maybe it was Udon. I'm not sure if it was officially like sanctioned by Capcom, but this is like something official, this whole gender bend thing, and I like it a lot. That's why it's at the top, works well. That being said, I feel like they could have done like something different with like gender bent Blanca. I'm not sure what or how they could have done different with the design, but I feel as though they could have done something different, so that's why Blanca's right there. Next is Ed, and I never really liked Ed's base design. I always preferred the hoodie thing, so that's why Ed's up here for works really well, because I love like the fact that instead of choosing like the whole dictator outfit, they instead just went for the training outfit. And I realized that was probably because it would probably be easier to just animate like a hoodie and pants rather than just, you know, like an entire like cape and like boxing gloves and a hat and all that. So I understand that part. That being said, I love the way this costume looks a lot, man. I love it a lot. Next is Ken. I love Ken's like skin mostly for like one reason. Like in my head, that Ken sort of looks like, because I didn't like Ken's like default costume like on him in the base game. I sort of prefer like his whole gi setup and all that. However, like whenever you take that costume and gender bend it, I sort of see it being sort of like Sakura, like the Ken version of Sakura, where like Sakura is like basically a gender bent version of Ryu, but can be her own character. I could totally see this being sort of like that, where this version of Ken is sort of like a gender bent version of him, but like is her own character instead, and she looks like this and all that. I could totally see this happening. In fact, like legit, I kind of sort of want that to happen. That being said, it's under works well. Like this, well, I'm probably gonna put it at the front, but this is the only reason why it's on works well is because like it's basically essentially like a gender bent version of Ken. It doesn't do anything too terribly interesting. That being said, it does look amazing, and they really managed to pull it off well. Next is Rashid. I love Rashid's because because same reason that I love Ken, but like I love Ken's thing, because like I don't see it as being a different character. I just see it as like them doing a really well job of just basically being a gentleman of the base outfit, right? I love that a lot, and that's why I put Rashid up here. Next is Urian, and I love Urian mostly because like legit, all of these on Works Well is going to be for the same reason. I love it because like it does very well. It's sort of like a gender bend. You know, it works well a lot as a gender bend, and like I can kind of sort of see this be like legit a base like character, like base skin for Urian. Next is Bison. I put it up here for like lore reasons, right? You know, because Bison is constantly like legit. Cammy and all the other dolls are basically supposed to be Bizike and inhibit. I sort of seeing this like this gender bend version of Bison being kind of sort of like, you know, the continuation of that idea. Like, what if he had actually gotten a new body? And I love that a lot, and that's why he's up here at Works Well. Next is Gil, and sort of like with Rashid and Ken, it's just basically like I could see this as like, this is like one of those where it's like it's just basically a basic gender bend. They didn't do anything with the outfit, but it works anyway. I can sort of see this being like as like something at the base roster, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. I just love how really well Gil's like gender bend skin works. Man, last is Sagat, and this is sort of like because like despite the fact that objectively like I've just like reviewed the footage and like went over it, objectively the muscles are smaller. It sort of works anyway, and like it sort of works in Sagat's favor because he isn't like Alex or like Balrog, where they're like just basically these meatheads, right? This Sagat, he's like your average like muscular dude. He goes to gym every day, but he doesn't like bodybuild or like bulk up or like go on a diet anyway. So this sort of works in Sagat's favor. So I can sort of see this. That's why Sagat. In fact, I'm probably gonna move him up a bit. Like in that aspect, I'm probably gonna move him up a bit. Like right here. Like because in that aspect, it works very well. Like this works in Sagat's favor. Like just in that aspect of the fact that sure it's less muscular, but like Sagat wasn't very that muscular to begin with, so this works. Next, starting off our list is Nash, and I chose Nash because like this is like one of the last few that like actually works very well. This is like one sorry. Yeah, this is one of the last few that like works very well, just being like a gender bent of the costume, right? And it sort of like starts to fall off a bit from like here. That being said, it does work very well. I can see it if they just like, because like I'm pretty sure like because I said I just reviewed the footage. I'm pretty sure that they just basically gave him short shorts. It'd be dope if they like actually gave him jeans, like on his character model and all that. I'm going to re-review the footage again real quick. Yeah, no, they just gave her like very short shorts. It'd be dope if like he had like actual pants on. Luke continuing off like that sort of like last of like the direct gender bend good ones. I put Luke right here because like I don't know, I didn't like Luke's base hairstyle to begin with, so like to put it on like a girl like or a woman that just doesn't work in my opinion. That being said, it does work and like has a potential to be works well. That's why it's at the tippy top, works well enough because it works well enough. Like they're like one thing I changed or something like that. And next is Kage, and Kage is sort of just basically like if Sakurai went evil. That's all I saw of it. I didn't see Kage. I saw if Sakurai went evil. That being said, I do like this a lot. And yeah, I just love it a lot. So next up is G, and the one gripe I have with G is basically the fact that she looks very young. I'd like a bit older G. Like I love G to like look a bit older. Besides that, this is pretty much good. But like also I'd give G pants too. Like this like entire mod has a thing with like not giving them pants, like or like cutting off their pants, right? Like it works with Ed. The only one it worked with was Ed, but that's because it's like a workout costume, right? So it's supposed to like be that way. Everyone else like they just have an obsession with not giving pants. Just please give them pants. Like that would make it better. Also, I guess I should have said this at the beginning, but I'm not a modder myself. I have no idea how hard all this is to like complete. So like legit, just take my opinion with a grain of salt. Yeah. So next is Nikali, and I put Nikali here because like this is like really just gender bent, or just like his gender bent version, but like I don't know, there's something off. Like this works well enough, you know. I like it a lot, but like this works well enough. But like there's like I'm not sure what I would change, but there's like some stuff that could change, in there undoubtedly that can make it better. I'm just not sure what. That being said, this does work well enough. And then leading us off on our like works well enough, but like I just don't like it that much is Oro. Because Oro's gender band is quite literally just a younger version of him with a ponytail and like some boobs, you know. And I don't like it that much, you know. I would have done like something completely different. I probably would have like, you know, done like, first of all, he looks way too young. Like that's the thing you notice on like all these old folks is that they look very, very young to like be like actual gentlemen. So that's what I'd do first, and I'd like cut down the hair. If we're going to give him hair, I'd probably like give him like a bob or something like that, or like something very short, you know, to like convey that, you know. And yeah. But yeah, there's just like a bunch off with Oro's intermittent version for me to like actually like legitimately like it, you know. That being said, it does work well enough for what I was trying to do. Next is Ryu, and I just don't like the way Ryu's like proportions look, because if I remember correctly, and I'm about to review the footage right now, yeah, now there's just something off about the pose, like the pose and like the proportions, the way like gender bent Ryu looks. There's just something off about the pose and like how like it fights and all that. I don't like this version of Ryu that much. In fact, we're just gonna put him right here. Like there's gonna be a long line of like what I'm talking about. There's just something about the pose and the way it looks and all that I don't like. Next is Ziku, right? And Ziku is like much the same problem that I have with Oro, much the same problem that I have with G. It looks too young. I would love like an Oro looking Ziku. In fact, I'll probably put it up here, like them right next to each other. She just looks way too young to like realistically be that. That being said, it works well enough. I do like this design a bit, you know, like I do like the design a bit though. Next is Akuma, and like I have two problems with it. One is like something I have with Akuma's like base boy design. It's that hair. I don't like that mane at all. That being said, it's cove worked on like gender band Akuma. That hairstyle cove worked. The thing that I don't like next is sort of like what I said about like G and Ed. Well, not Ed, but like G and Nash. Right? It's the fact that they didn't give Akuma pants. They didn't give Akuma pants. And I don't like that. I don't like that because like the reason why I love watching Harold play Akuma so much is because like I just love watching like. I love like it giving off a feeling that this is like an actual karate master, like someone that's dark and a karate master, and like it's kind of sort of hard to believe whenever they don't have like the proper karate pants. That's like a weird complaint, I know, but still that doesn't work that much. Next is Guile, and like this isn't the worst offender because you got these three down here, but this is like the fourth worst offender of like the muscle thing because I'm gonna review the footage again like after I go on for all my spiel, but basically like Guile's like muscles are like a huge part of his character, and like I feel like they nerfed those and the conversion over to him making him a girl, right? So I just didn't like that much. That being said, it's not like a bad offender. Like everything else works fine. It's just like the muscles that bother me the most. And next is Fang, and I didn't like Fang's character design like as a boy, so I don't like his character design as a girl. That's pretty much it. That being said, it is better design. So much better that I actually have this mod installed, like Fang's mod installed, just so that on the once in the blue moon that I do go up against the Fang, the design isn't the worst thing I've ever seen. So next is the I Guess It Works, and these are all like characters that like they work as gender bends, but like I'm just gonna get all these out of the way. They're not like beefy enough. Like the whole thing about Abigail and like what makes him threatening is the fact that he's this big body person who has muscles, right? Like he looks like the Incredible Hulk, right? The thing about Zangief, he quite literally says this as he takes a sword to the chest. Like he takes a sword to the chest and it breaks off, and he says, and he repeats, "Muscles are strong," and all that. Like that's his entire thing. And Birdie, the entire point of Birdie's character design is that like he's gross and very big and all that. Like you take away that bigness, it sort of like takes away some of the grossness. So like essentially what I'm saying is that like all these don't work because like they make them much more skinnier and much less muscular. Like I said, I understand that in order to like make the hitboxes work, they had to like make them a bit skinnier. That being said, I don't like these designs that much, but I guess they work for what they were trying to accomplish, and that's all that matters. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, then congratulations, I guess. Yeah, I hope you have a good day. See you next time.